You know, I do a quiz. I do a quiz show for young school kids. We had to stop it during COVID, but it was a great opportunity to talk to young children. And maybe next time I should have a quiz question. Who is the youngest published author in the country? And who knows? The answer could well be Eshanvi. So congratulations, because you might well find yourself on the next round of quiz to be the youngest to have been published. I'll also tell you why I think it's very special that a 10-year-old should do what Eshanvi has done. This is the Instagram age. This is the age of social media where you're supposed to write everything in 280 characters. My children once showed me something called Snapchat. Now, I didn't understand what it was because the photograph went off inside a minute. But apparently that is the magic of the times in which we live. Everything is instant. It's here today, it's gone tomorrow. Now, in this age, very few people, therefore, particularly of Eshanvi's age, seem to spend enough time in actually putting together something which can be remembered even 5-10 years from now, a book. This is not the book age. When we grew up, many of you here, we used to think about it. We didn't have mobile phones. We didn't even have internet. So we actually wrote letters to each other. You know, in Hindi they say, "Pyar hota tha khat se." You know, old Hindi films or even Telugu films, I'm sure, the romance was over letters. Today, no one writes letters to each other. They're all on the mobile, talking to each other or doing FaceTime with each other. As a result, the art of writing, the art of communicating through words is increasingly being lost. I had actually started this quiz program to encourage young people to at least read newspapers, to maybe watch the news. Some of them do, but the truth is many of us don't, or many of our children don't. Many of the adults also don't. You see a family now across a table, each of them is looking at their mobile. None of them is actually talking to each other. They have very little time to actually talk to each other. So Eshanvi has reminded us that there is a world of letters that still exists. And I think that's what makes this book special. When we grew up because of Enid Blyton. And there were books like Famous Five and Secret Seven. Then another generation came up which grew up on J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. Now maybe you can start a series called Mysterious Mayhem. And every year bring out a book which can tell us something about the mysteries of this world. As I said, for a young girl to do this is quite remarkable. To have it illustrated, and you've illustrated it very well, is even more special. Because I think when you tell a story to younger people, they want the story through pictures. Now, Enid Blyton was an adult. J.K. Rowling was an adult. For young people to tell stories to the young, excited people out there makes it even more special. Let me also say that, as I said, when we were growing up, we had Amar Chitra Katha, and that was also illustrated. History was illustrated. So the illustrations make your book, Eshanvi, even more special. And I think there is the innocence of the young in your book writing which makes it special, that you actually imagine all these lovely stories around you. And all of us actually have one story in our lives, which we should tell. Each one of us is capable of telling one story. Some of us may tell it in 500 words, some of us may tell it in 100,000 words, but we all have stories because we allow our imagination to run free. I'm also glad that you've done this because we are finally in this audience without masks looking at life beyond COVID, hopefully. For 2 years, we were all stuck to each other. But I think in those 2 years, while we were stuck at home, we remembered things like family. We remembered that we could talk to each other. Otherwise, we were all living in a world far apart from each other. But we were brought together by COVID. Which is why I think, Eshanvi, it's not just you today who deserves big credit. It's your parents who perhaps deserve even more credit than you for encouraging you to do this. I saw a program last night. It was a program on Netflix of the great racing driver Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis Hamilton's father was there. And Lewis Hamilton's father, and there were old pictures of young Lewis Hamilton doing go-karting at the age of 10. And Lewis Hamilton's father says, I saw in my child the potential, and I saw that my child dreamt of car racing. My job was only to give wings to his dreams. Your parents, Eshanvi, and I know your father in particular is a driving force, as I'm sure is your mother, have given wings to your dreams. And therefore they deserve a huge amount of credit, because without your parents and without all our parents in a way, we would be nothing. As young people, we often forget all too easily what is the debt that we owe our parents, because they are the ones who in a way inspire us. So when you go home tonight, remember to give them a special kiss and affection for what they've done for you, to bring out and encourage you to bring out this book. So all I can say at the very end, may there be many more wings that will enable you to fly, write many more books, explore your creativity, and who knows, one day you might be India's answer to Harry Potter. So all the very best to you and your lovely friends. Thank you very much once again for having me here. I feel a little old in this gathering, and that's good. Because when your grey hair and I see all these young, excited faces, it's always nice to be among the young. Because when you're among the young, you can also get inspired to be youthful. All the very best. And yes, do start reading newspapers also. And read the news occasionally. You don't only have to know what film stars are doing. You can also know sometimes what your politicians and others are doing as well. So have a great time. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up.
First of all, a very good afternoon to everybody present here. And it's a very tough act once you have somebody as amazing as Rajdeep Sardesai sir here speaking. Speaking after him is like is a daunting task. I thought he was enough, but then I had Eshanvi speak after him, and Eshanvi did an amazing job, like hitting the ball out of the park. So I am very nervous for the first time speaking on stage now. So sir, we have always grown up watching you speak, sir, and a lot of our vocabulary has come from, like, some of it has been picked up from you too. So you're an inspiration. And when I look at Eshanvi today, I'm reminded of myself. I mean, don't think you'll become like me later on. But I'm reminded of my 11-year-old self, because as I was just saying, Enid Blyton was the bread and butter, for every kid back in the 1980s, 1990s. So my first book was, I still remember it as 5 Go to Billycock Hill. That was the famous 5 book which I read, which was given to me by my mother, and she encouraged me to read. And from then on, I always had this burning desire to write too as a kid, but I couldn't. So now when I see you, I can say how privileged you are to get this opportunity. And as you said, your family has been very supportive, Eshanvi, especially Divya Garu and Rajana. We call him Rajana, Rajshekar Reddy Garu. So both of them have been very supportive, and I'm telling you this, you are very, very lucky to have this opportunity, and you have made full use. Because I've gone through this, I've gone through the pictures, I've read part of it. It's beautiful. So the first reviews coming from me, guys. This book,
Thank you,
is a hit. Mysterious Mayhem is a very good read, and I would have enjoyed this. I enjoy this even now, so I must have enjoyed this as a kid. So all of you go get your copy on Amazon, and you already have just heard that all the proceedings are going to go for a very good organization called T-Hope, which I am happy to be a part of also, because Rajana has made me a part of it too, and it is a very good cause. So every single rupee that you're going to spend is going to go for education purposes for the underprivileged. I cannot say much more, but the only thing I can say is that telling stories is a very noble job. So through movies, I try to do my bit by telling stories too. So good messages, as you said, and I really love this message which you talked about, Eshanvi, about you cannot blend in. That was the thing. How can you blend in when you are born to stand out? So I truly believe in that. And every single book of yours, I'm sure, is going to give a message. And I try to do that through my movies, and Sir does it every day through his wonderful opinions and news. So I'm really proud that you've achieved this, Eshanvi. I've seen you as a kid. I know we played cricket together and all that, but I never knew that you were this brilliant. So congratulations again, and this should definitely inspire more kids to come forward and not just blog or vlog. I think that's good too, but sometimes also think about writing a book and putting your thoughts on paper through pen. So it's a very powerful medium. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.